motel.
And we have a matchup indeed, everybody. These fine fellas stepping into the ring. It is Sok from South Korea versus ToD from France, living in Austria at the moment. And we have our first game. The maps in this best of 5: Last Refuge, Autumn Leaves, Tide Hunters, Echo Isles, and Springtime. Rather normal, no candidates like Melting Valley yesterday. So everybody should have their creep routes prepared. Everybody should know what to do. The tail of the tape between the two shows us... wait, they never played against each other? Is my statistic, is it lying? Or do we have a first time ever in competitive Warcraft?
I mean, to be fair, I can't think of when ToD and Sok would have ever played against each other. Doesn't seem like a matchup that would have ever ever happened, to be honest.
Well, let me check. Maybe it's bugged, but no, there are no recorded games between these players. So, without further ado, everybody, for the first time in Warcraft 3 history, it's ToD versus Sok.
Here we go, guys. Sok versus ToD, a matchup that we have never seen before. Both opting to go with that Archmage first opener and the barracks soon to follow for some footmen. And, you know, you were pointing out, Neo, about the players preparing their creep routes for all of these maps. And I'm certainly curious to see how each player decides to open Last Refuge here. I think it's pretty obvious, you know, that most players would go for the mercenary camp here first. But perhaps we may see some deviation. Let's see how it goes.
Yeah, in case people haven't followed ESL Meisterschaft, ToD got the second place there. Really, really successful. Only losing one series, and that was to X-Lord. But he won the mirror match versus Leon. And I gotta be honest, pretty convincing fashion. So ToD knows exactly what to do. ToD is in shape, even though he's playing quite some FFA these days. In the past couple of weeks, ToD was grinding. And that is also why he qualified for this tournament right here. We see Sok at the bottom, drawing out the mercenary camp creep, because of course there's a Shadow Priest, there's a big reward. So let's see who's in favor of RNGs this year.
Oh man, are you seeing the High Priest of Sok was running around all the way around the back of the mercenary camp, making it very difficult for Sok to actually get rid of that High Priest there. Very annoying indeed. In the meantime, what items are both players going to get from the camps? We have Rune Bracers for Sok, which is probably one of the worst possible drops. And on the other side, for ToD, the King of the Rings gets Robe of the Magi. Probably the best possible drop from this opening creep camp here.
Yeah, I think you could argue later on, maybe the Flute is better or Devotion is better, but for the early game, absolutely fantastic. This is more damage with auto attacks, this is more mana for more water elementals, which is then also more damage, and more damage results in faster creeping, and that speeds up everything else. So ToD, while he has been a little unlucky with rings in past patches, rings are now pretty damn good as well. So advantage, ToD.
And as we see here on the side of Sok, getting the ring +4 from the nearest green to his base. ToD, on the other hand, going for the Murlocs directly south of his mercenary camp, getting the Ring of Superiority, a new addition that was found on Springtime only, now present on all maps. And we see the difference in the mana item here from Robe of the Magi here, allowing ToD to summon that third elemental right away. Sok unable to actually summon the next elemental to Kuda's camp, but could spawn now his level 2 elemental if he so chooses, but prefers to hold on to that mana and just let his militia tank a little bit of the damage. Would have liked to see the Archmage tank that damage there, which the priest can easily heal up, rather than the workers, which are a little bit exposed to a potential ToD attack.
Oh, is Sok creeping or rushing across? Okay, he's satisfied with his level 3.1. ToD loves the PvE, gets the sentry ward, and oh, Sok actually moves back for the boots. The chase is on.
Yeah, I like that actually. Selling the Rune Bracers, a pretty much useless item at this stage in the game, has no impact on the early stages here, which is the most crucial, of course, in most matchups. Getting that boots, allowing him to chase down units very effectively. But actually, he sort of runs the footman in, one of which gets taken out immediately by ToD. And it looks to be that ToD is getting a little bit ahead in these very early attacks. One footman of Sock going down, one very, very low indeed, and the priest is very low. ToD does actually lose his priest instead due to that archmage with claws and boots. Very nicely done indeed.
I'm actually surprised that anyone gets any experience here, because if I had to pick 2 players who are in all of Warcraft the best at denying units, it's these 2, especially for the human faction. It's incredible how they make it work and how they deny experience. Happy is up there, of course, but so far, not that many denies. They got the last hits down.
Yep. Sometimes it just depends on where your hero is positioned and where you have to try and micro your unit away. It's not always the easiest to get your hero back around to deny that unit, but in the end, both players securing XP. So I'd say it's pretty even across the board. ToD, of course, with the advantage having taken a 4th creep camp, unlike Sock, who moved across early. And now we'll have to see, can ToD continue to be stronger on the defense versus Sock's attack here.
Okay, there's Shadow Priests on both sides, both chased. Sock once again a little more aggressive.
ToD actually managing to secure the Troll Priest kill there, just next to Sock's Goblin Merchant. In the meantime, has to deal with these pesky little footmen taking care of 2 of ToD's peasants right now. ToD actually getting 1 counter kill, getting level 4, which is of course fantastic for him. In the meantime, saves his units to the base and is underway with tech, a little bit ahead of Sock actually, about 20-25 seconds there. Pretty nice for him.
Alrighty. Looking good so far for ToD, and I think not too many people expected this from, you know, just the names of the players, but very different philosophy in this human mirror here on map 1. One Sock, ruthless aggression, ToD just holding the fort, and Archmage again in the base, but peasant positioning, footman positioning, all taking care of the mercs in the back.
We have a pretty interesting situation here. ToD moving out with his army and 2 elementals, one of which will unfortunately expire, to try and pressure Sock's expansion. In the meantime, Sock about to steal away that Troll Priest away from ToD's mercenary camp. I'm sure ToD will be pretty sad about that. But in the meantime, he is getting a little bit of a tempo advantage, getting his army across onto the map, while Sock didn't really accomplish too much in ToD's base. And looking at ToD's macro, he's got Defend online already, which is very effective against the piercing of the mercs and the elementals, and has that lumber mill almost finishing the enhanced gathering already, which is pretty nice for him. But to be fair, ToD didn't actually accomplish too much in Sock's expansion either. I would say it was a relatively even trade for both players there.
Sock is half a level down though, and ToD continues to snipe some creep camps. Uncontested with Defend now, going for the High Priest for another consumable. Sock doesn't want to allow this. There's more mana regeneration, of course, online, but now with the Dispel, wow, 3 Shadow Priests and 2 Berserkers. This is tough to fight, and how do you get these footies out?
Yeah, look at this, all these footmen here, it's kind of chaotic. We have all the trolls doing their best to attack these footmen with Defend, which are practically invincible against ranged attacks. And we might see a panda, I think, from both sides here. ToD losing a few units, dipping back below low upkeep to keep himself below 50 food and buying that second hero. Sock, on the other hand, his tech was a little bit slower, it's not quite finished yet, but judging by his positioning, it will also be a panda, and perhaps both players will be going towards tier 3, where the panda actually does really shine in Human Mirror.
Oh, I love tier 3 Human Mirror, it's the best! This is Knights and Mortars, and this is so much more entertaining than anything else in these damn Breaker Wars that we've seen for 20 years.
Absolutely.
Mortar
And
teams
to be honest as well, Breaker Mirror is so mentally taxing to play. It's just non-stop micro battles where units are not dying for a very long time, and you have to keep very, very focused in the meantime. Whereas tier 3 Human Mirror, much more explosive. Very exciting indeed to see a full range of units from them. Yes, nice little skirmishes here between the two players. Sock getting quite a bit of experience actually from killing ToD's units. Already has a level 1.7 or 1.8 panda. ToD a little bit behind in experience with his panda, but his Archmage on the other hand is wreaking havoc in the base of Sock right now. Pretty nice movement by him, not able to get out of the base due to the buildings that were being built at the bottom there. Forced into that TP, but to be honest, kept the economy of Sock kind of in check there with that move.
Breath of Fire onto the Archmage. Little problematic.
Oh, Sock here with a lot more units than ToD, to be fair. This might be a little bit challenging for him to take care of. I think ToD perhaps could buy the Ogre Mauler from his mercenary right now to try and fend off this push. There we go. Here comes the Ogre Mauler and the Troll Priest. While Sock hitting level 5 Archmage here finally as well to match level 5 of ToD. ToD electing to go with the Elementals as well. We're seeing these Water Torrent on the go, wrecking havoc right now. Looks dicey for ToD right now.
Yeah, I agree. Gets a level 2 Panda. That might help a little bit. But he's 7 food down. And yeah, needs some help. He gets double Sanctum up. He did some damage in the base, but sacrificed a lot of HP for it. Pandemonium on Last Refuge. Defend is working on all fronts, but not against the Breath of Fire. So ToD is able to clean this up slowly but steady. But the Mauler...
Wow, so much experience going towards the Archmage here of Sock, pretty much hitting level 5.5 there off the back of that Ogre Mauler kill. Panda of ToD needs to be a little bit careful here, just heading back towards the shop, hopefully trying to buy a Scroll of Regeneration, but there might not even be one available, as there's actually one on the Archmage currently, not really able to heal up his units. And yeah, kind of relying on those Knights and that Paladin to come out soon to relieve some pressure here. Sock, on the other hand, casually macroing up, has a second barracks on the way to Sanctums as well, researching that Master Train for those priests right now.
Inner Fire Knights, let's go. Pally added as well for more armor, both on 2 bases. Sock and ToD, same supply, pretty much same levels as well. A little bit advantage on Sock's Archmage, a little bit of an advantage for ToD's Panda. And this is almost as even as it gets, despite some losses for ToD there.
A few noteworthy differences, I would say. We have only the Adept training coming through right now for ToD, even though he is on tier 3. So that Master training will be quite some ways off. Meanwhile, Sock is already halfway through researching his Master training for those priests, which is absolutely essential to get as much mana online for them and access to their abilities. And yeah, ToD actually breaking into low upkeep right now. Sock chilling on 48 supply, keeping his gold nice and steady, and yep, pressuring the workers right now of ToD, which isn't great when you're already in low upkeep and now your second base is being pressured. Actually, the Town Hall is being pressured right now, so ToD with his level 3 Panda is trying to mount some sort of counter-attack, but I'm not sure that this is the right trade, as the expansion for ToD, I think, is going down uncontested, Neo.
Oh, there's no TP. Yeah, exactly. There is no TP. There is an harass on the right-hand side. There's a go on the left-hand side, but ToD is in trouble. Being down a base, that hurts. Panda got level 3 on ToD's side. Might be an invite to a Drunken Haze Breath of Fire, but these units are all so sturdy, especially the Water Elements. You can't really do much against them. ToD is trying to buy time for Animal War Train, for Priest Master Training. He can't compete in a straight-up fight right now.
No, absolutely not. Perhaps that level 3 Panda with the Wand of Mana Steel in there might be able to do something. It is pretty strong indeed. And ToD does indeed have 4 Knights out already. Sock waiting for his second run of production to get 4 Knights out. It does have the superior economy to back him up. I think the level 3 Panda of ToD here needs to carry big time.
Oh yeah. Soon the Panda of Sock will also be level 3, will all be healed by the Paladin, of course. Staffs are online. ToD is getting some kills on the board, though. The supply gap was pretty noticeable just a few seconds ago, but it's evening out again. This is probably ToD's last chance to get anything done yet. Inner Fire is seconds away from finishing.
Absolutely. ToD with these 4 Knights here in the level 3 Panda certainly has quite a strong advantage in the fight over Sock with the superior economy running in the background, able to reinforce his army far more easily over time. May be able to push back ToD here, but I think ToD doing pretty well, to be quite honest. This level 3 Panda is certainly a menace against those Knights. Staff online perhaps not being used on that Knight. I'm not sure if it was on cooldown yet. A little bit unfortunate losing one of his 4 Knights, but yeah, look at the heroes on Sock's side. His whole army is pretty much completely bruised. Needs to head back to that Arcane Vault and get some healing ASAP.
Ooh, ToD keeps on pushing. The longer the game goes, the better it is for Sock, of course, being on 2 bases. He also got the better upgrades with 2-1 versus 0-1. Blocks off the base for no additional echo damage. Did Sock weather the storm? The supply suggested, the upgrades suggested, but maybe ToD can win this in the micro battle.
Here we go, another engagement once again, but Sock has built up those 4 knights, crucially, still has the Ogre Mauler on the field and the Berserker, as well as 4 Master Priests. ToD, on the other hand, with 4 knights and 3 Master Priests, who are all looking a bit dry, but is still considerably further ahead in the XP department. In the meantime, ToD is taking care of all the peasants at Sock's expansion with 1 knight split up to the side. One of the things he does best, playing against him in 4v4, I know this, he is great at splitting off units into people's expansion. He was harassing Sock's Expo all game with Footman as well. Might have been able to divert just enough of Sock's attention and get a little bit of an advantage back.
Shades of Thorthane, he did that many times. The Mauler is up for grabs with maybe the next Breath of Fire, but mana, despite the level 2 Brilliance Aura, kinda low. We have an entire level advantage on the Panda, closing in on 4. Also the Paladin, which makes up for one of the defense upgrades here. High armor knights with inner fire on top of this, of course. 14 armor. And more to come.
Yeah, that's absolutely nuts. When they have maximum upgrades, that inner fire and like a level 2 devotion, or they have 19.5 armor, they're absolute beasts in combat. And that's why the Panda is so effective, as he deals magic damage, which is mitigated by armor, of course, and trying to burn through those knights. Finally, Sock managing to secure his level 3 Panda, finally getting the Wand of the Wind for his efforts from the lab just next to his base. ToD, unfortunately, 1 knight is being... oh, it's being microed back nicely. Trying to get whatever scraps he can from this camp, while I would expect him to be setting up a base behind this again, but actually opting to just mass as many units as possible. I think ToD is kind of all in here, Neil.
I think so too. We are getting close to level 6 Archmage. That might tip the scales. Not too much Dispel against the Inner Fire. Both are fighting with heavy armor knights. One of the Wind being used against the Panda. Dispel immediately level 2 on the Paladin of Sock. Here we go, Drunken Haze, Breath of Fire, Priests have to heal a lot. They want to heal the front line, but they're busy with themselves at the moment.
Gosh, beautiful heal scroll at the back there by ToD, pretty much getting insane value across his army. Sock on the other hand without a single heal scroll remaining. Both players having burned through their consumables, but unfortunately for ToD, it seems that he's running a little bit out of steam. Look how many priests Sock has. This is an absolutely ridiculous amount of priests. Healing up the backline and able to control the water elemental battle by dispelling those and providing that valuable XP back to his heroes, which he sorely needs to keep ahead as much as he can.
How long can ToD stay in this game being down a base? There's still a knight being countered by another knight. So not full mining for Sock. He has to fight hard. That Breath of Fire, wonderful, but countered by a heal scroll pretty much immediately. Nobody has any consumables anymore.
Yep, we see ToD here on the retreat towards his base. Kind of bruised, needs a little bit of time to heal up. Perhaps Sock will give him that time as he's about to take the Goblin Merchant away from ToD, which I think he can't, which ToD can't really contest. Very nicely, once again splitting off an Elemental and a Knight with Inner Fire back to Sock's worker line. Perhaps he might be able to deal a good deal of economic damage there. Nice save. Level 6 has been unlocked for the Archmage of ToD right now. Will he use Mass Teleport aggressively? I think so. He just bought a TP. I think this is a TP down to Sock's expansion. Here we go. The ToD's Knight is a ToD's Knight. Just managed to survive long enough to be staffed onto by the Archmage with that Mass Teleport. Sock responding with his own TP, and ToD using his TP to get out of dodge.
What a game! The main bases are about to expire in 2.5 minutes. We got mass teleport advantage for ToD right here, and Sock always has to buy town portals, but he has better consumables. He got a heal scroll. He found the big mana potion on ToD's shop right there, snagged it up just shortly before the Panda of ToD could grab it. And now, where does this game go? Sock is inches away from his own mass teleport. Jump around.
Yeah, just like the movie Jumper, eh? We're gonna that classic. We're gonna see another small engagement take place, but ToD is of course not going to give him a full, give Sock a full fight, and Sock responds with his own teleporter, who can of course afford it. Jumps directly on top. We have all these units completely clumped on top of each other. Heal scrub being popped from Sock. It's pretty much chaos here, with both pandas able to rain down on each other's armies. And
ToD
to
has
be
no
honest,
TP.
this is pure chaos. What is even going on here? ToD needs
ToD.
to wait for the cooldown of that mass
Oh.
teleport. He's being focus fired right now.
Oh.
Is he able to teleport out? Gets a heal from the level 3 paladin there, keeping him alive. Here comes the mass TP. Will ToD get out okay? Yes, 81 HP on that Archmage, but that was pretty close. Straight back to the other side. And Sok did get level 6 during that fight and is able to mass TP back to his base in order to keep it safe. And I think now with level 6, the advantage that ToD has been removed. Sok is still mining from this expansion, and it looks like he should be able to close this game out.
Wow. What a game. One of the coolest human mirrors that I've seen in quite some time. Sok now pulling ahead. Of course, his expansion is still mining somewhat. Main base, 900 gold left for Sok, who's continuing to chase. 450 only for ToD, and then he's out of gold. What is the solution to this problem? Sok is ahead in, not in levels really, but in economy and upgrades.
The upgrade disparity is absolutely insane. We have 3-2 knights right now for Sok. ToD having a measly 0-1, being only on one base, not able to afford all those upgrades, the heal scrolls and the teleports, which are all also expensive when you're in low upkeep. Ogre Mauler for Sok finally falling after all this time. Sok wisely taking out the knight before mass teleporting to defend himself, as ToD would just mass TP back onto that knight. So not being left with that option, ToD just kind of has to retreat. But I can see him sending another knight back into that peasant line of Sok. But now there's a huge engagement taking place here. I think both players are pretty much committed to this engagement. And let's see who comes out on top.
Ooh, double
Both
detonate!
elementals getting dispelled.
Yep.
That is absolutely massive experience on the side of Sok. Those level 3 Water Torrent offering huge amount of experience each. And yeah, look at the amount of priests that Sok has got still. He pretty much hasn't lost any of them. I think there's, what, 8 of them? 7 of them? Able to keep this army topped off, dispelling all the elementals that ToD can possibly throw at him, and keeping that army inner fired up to the max.
Wow. Oh man, this match is so cool because of course there's no Mountain King who could possibly stop the mass tele.
Mass
As you can
teleport
see,
into ToD's base again. Let's go. Let's see how much damage Sok can get done here. He does have a TP, so if things get dicey before that cooldown wears off, he will be able to get out. In the meantime, wow, actually ToD managing to take out one of Sok's knights in the expansion and continues to wreak havoc down on the peasants of Sok. But to be honest, Sok has a lot of gold to play with, and ToD is completely broken out.
exactly 1400 gold left on Sok's side. What's next? I really like that ToD continues to send the Inner Fire Knight to the bottom right, so he wins the fight against a non-Inner Fire Knight, of course. Call to arms being used, 2 more knights about to fall. Sok TP's out. This is a little bit too much, takes care of his economy. But man, these knights, they shredded through the peasant line again. But getting more and more desperate for ToD, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's astounding to see how quickly knights, even without any attack upgrades, can just chew through those poor, lowly peasants. They can't do much about that. But to be fair, it's not as if Sok doesn't have spare peasants to immediately replenish that gold mine. Not that there's a lot of gold left. It's sitting at a very comfortable 940 gold, 70 food. ToD in the meantime getting, of course, a little bit of additional gold from long distance mining. Some gold from the lab here will be useful too. You might be able to afford another knight or another priest, but I think the supply gap is looking quite dire indeed.
We got 3 knights and they get the endurance aura on
Oh,
top.
my lord.
So more movement speed for the already high movement speed knights. This is fantastic. We got 18 armor points. Oh, hold on. Devotion aura 2. Give me that inner fire. Might not even... Oh, there we go. You were right. 19 and a half armor.
Right, folks, this may be the last engagement of this first map here between Sok and ToD. ToD pretty much completely on the back foot, completely gold starved, facing 3 knights with only 0-1. It certainly does look dire indeed. We have the endurance aura on the side of Sok as well, an incredible item, those knights have become even more beastly in combat for sure. And Sok actually able to set up another base on the high ground here. So even if somehow he gets beaten back, there will be economy rolling for him once again very soon.
That's lovely. And yeah, good luck chasing against Endurance Aura. There's no mana for Mass Tele anymore. There's no mana for anything really. Panda found an Ankh, which is not too helpful. We got staffs on all sides. It's so hard to kill anything right now to get that level 5 Panda, which might be the one advantage that that ToD still has left. There is another water elemental. Nobody's mining anymore. But mind you, Sok has that 800 gold bank.
Absolutely, and I'm honestly sure in Sok's mind he knows this map is pretty much closed out. It shouldn't be too difficult for him to chew through what remains of ToD's army. Actually, ToD's Paladin getting pretty low there, an 84 crit, not the biggest, but coming out of the Panda right there, about to chuck another breath. ToD's Panda on the other hand completely out of mana as well, so is the Paladin and the Archmage. They pretty much expended through their entire mana pools. In the meantime, Sok pretty healthy with his so many priests on his side, just healing up every unit on his side. And look at all the knights that ToD has. They are close to going down to a next Breath of Fire very soon indeed. They're going to start dropping. There's 2 down, 2 more to go through there. They're looking pretty low as well. Getting focus fired. I can see some of the priests attacking as well. Panda as well of ToD just about to go down. Breath of Fire being used. And the well played is called.
Well played is called indeed. What a match to open up this best of 5 series. Sok prevailing was under a lot of pressure. 26-minute game. Fantastic start to the one-on-one section of today.
99 unit kills apiece as well for both players. Which is kind of crazy to think because ToD was of course on the back foot for a long time there in that match, but managing to get so many peasant kills by splitting off his units, he did that incredibly well throughout the match. I feel that as soon as he gave up that expansion of his own, and it went down, it kind of went downhill overall for him as well.
Very glad that I have you by my side to break this down. That was fantastic. Whew. Round 2. Hopefully we get 5 of these. I don't care if Lawlight and Colorful have to stay up all night. I want more Human Mirror Tier 3, 20 armor units. Would love to see maybe Blizzard in the mix or Mortar teams. But of course they were all scrapped for resources. It was super duper close.
Yeah, it was interesting to see actually neither player retraining to Blizzard, which is incredibly good against Knights. You have those 2 knight armies clashing against each other, and Blizzard, of course, can just be used to damage your opponent's knights. And it does a maximum of 250 damage per second on level 3, shared across all the targets, which is gigantic. It's probably the most amount of sustained damage you can possibly get. And yeah, both players sticking with the elementals, actually, which were very useful to split off and harass. But perhaps we may see a Blizzard retrain next time. I do personally appreciate that a lot more than the elementals.
All right. Autumn Leaves is our next map. As we have a little discussion here. But should be good. We have a little bit of a rejoin, rehost situation. And we got a... we got butt crumbs contributions everywhere. $69.69. Nice.
Nice.
Boosting the price pool up to 2,382. Close to the 2,500. But not there yet.
Remember, guys, if you want to make Neo proud and hit that $2,500 target, you can do that, I think, pretty easily enough. We're not so far off. If you want to make me proud, we can hit that 3,000 target today.
I still doubt that. These people here in the chat watching, you think they can make it to 3,000? I think that's ridiculous. But, okay.
I've got to set the bar very, very high, Neo. I've got to set the standards.
Prove me wrong, guys. Prove me wrong.
But yeah, as someone said in the chat, ToD was winning the first 15 minutes. I would definitely agree. ToD had a pretty nice early game lead. I think he played around the small details the best in the early stages. At some point, that counterattack back into ToD's expansion with the Panda cost him a lot of workers, and Sok was able to get ahead in macro terms, getting the Master Priest online first, able to break. With more gold in the bank, ToD sort of forced into breaking early, which wasn't fantastic for him. And of course, the decision to go across and sacrifice his expansion to not really accomplish all too much in Sok's base ultimately led to his downfall. But we did see some very nice split attacks with the Footmen and the Knights and Elementals into Sok's peasant line. I think Sok could take a page out of ToD's book there and try and implement that tactic, as it was masterfully executed and kept him in the game for a long time. As Trainee says, yep, no MK to interrupt Blizz, so that's why it would be an even better choice, I feel. To be honest, you could just use it constantly without any consequences.
And we have everything sorted out. There we go. Yeah, I think ideally both want to go for Blizzard, but Sok probably saw that ToD doesn't have too many priests, and ToD had no resources because his base went down. So this is what they had to work with. And we have to work with map number 2, Quberte. It is time. Let's see if Sok can pull ahead with a 2-0 or if Sok can tie up the series. We got the Korean on the bottom left-hand side and we got ToD in the upper right.
Autumn Leaves, a map that has become quite a staple pick indeed over the past months. Sok here saying this internet sucks. Unfortunately, having a little bit hard time, a little bit higher ping to the servers than he should. And hopefully the connection remains stable enough for this match here. And yep, looking at the players' altar positioning here, it would sort of suggest that they're going to go for the green camp or the shop, which are both viable openers. Perhaps the shop awarding a little bit more experience, giving that level 2 right off the bat, and 2 items when you buy the circlet from the shop are pretty nice indeed. Or will we see a more conservative opener where the player tries to go for a quicker attack? Let's find out.
Let's find out indeed. This is where I saw ToD play double Rex Mass Footman. That was pretty insane, to be honest, and super fun to cast and watch, but not the most reliable strategy.
No, certainly not, and I think perhaps it's also better paired with the Mountain King, maybe? You have a lot of potential to get surrounds with that bolt. There's no pesky Demon Hunter to control your mana. You can throw quite a lot of bolts and use your mass footies to get some surrounds. But yeah, it does sound pretty entertaining, to be fair. Definitely unorthodox as well.
Alright, so far, so standard. No big deviation from either side. Third farm on ToD side. Third farm for Sok side. This looks pretty identical.
Yep, and we can see here with ToD's Footman positioning that he is definitely going to go for that shop creep first, needing to pull 6 militia to take that one down. It is quite a tough camp indeed. Sok moving forward to check with his Footman, finding out what ToD's opening creep out is, and responding with the same, which I think is a pretty nice move here. See the Sasquatch being focused down first for Sok, and ToD focusing the Berserker down, as well as the Trapper with some of his units. Let's see who creeps the camp better with these slight differences. Pretty interesting to see just small details like that, at least for a nerd like me. See how both players decide to take on those camps, and in the end, both players come away completely unscathed, not taking basically any damage on their workers, creeping at almost the exact same speed. Sok a little bit quicker, actually has 3 elementals up at once here, taking care of this camp. ToD with only 1 elemental doesn't want to use, he will use this 3rd elemental now. Okay, not a bad choice either. So I think Sok will get a slight tempo advantage here with his creeping, keeping that 2nd elemental alive from the shop camp.
Okay, yeah, +6 damage there is on ToD now, helping with the creeping. On the other side, Sok pretty much the same, also +6 plus the attack speed, and both are going for their bases now. Sok is scouting this, ToD is not. Must be pretty sure that this is happening.
Yeah, I would anticipate that ToD is anticipating that Sok is going for the same. creep right is him. Interesting to see that ToD did not buy the circlet from his shop and actually has the 4th farm already prepared, which is definitely better in terms of macro. Sock did just get his 4th farm done now and is a little bit behind in gold, just a tiny smidge, having bought the circlet for himself in the shop. As you can see, 3 items for ToD and 4 for Sock. And yep, here we go guys, a skirmish occurring between the footmen, the classic footman wars and elemental wars and archmage wars that we see in this matchup every time. ToD being on the defense, once again Sock being a little bit faster at taking care of the creeping, is able to pressure first, but sort of is losing a bit of momentum here, not able to summon that elemental out yet, probably waiting to summon the next one now. Coming back in, I'd imagine he'd spawn the elemental now. Yes, ToD does the same. Now we have 4 elementals up at once in total, and yeah, ToD very nicely microing all these footmen back into his base and trying to get that arcane vault up now so he can quickly bring them back into the fold. And in the meantime, Sock also microing his units back, but isn't really losing as much HP as ToD is, but it looks pretty even so far, Neo.
Exactly. This is pretty stressful to micro. Here we see Sock denying his water elementals. He got so good at that. ToD paved the way for this deny meta already like a year ago or so. And now slowly but steady, the Fortitudes, the Sock, they're following and they're executing this on a super high level. And Sock, I don't know if he's listening to the cast, but he built a second Rex.
I see that, yes. I was going to point out both archmages here with the exact same experience they started with after creeping, neither player giving an inch, not even a millimeter between each other here in terms of feeding experience away. But Sock, deviating from what perhaps is the standard to go ahead and tech, is building that second barracks, and ToD is going with the tech and might find himself under a lot of pressure soon. Will he be able to hold on against the mass footy onslaught that is soon to come his way?
This will still take some time. The second rack still takes some time. Amassing the footmen takes some time. Can he buy time for a panda, for an alchemist? Anything that helps against this mass footman. This is a timing thing now for Sock.
He does already have, let's see, 9 footmen currently with the Archmage. Pretty decent number indeed. We have another 2 coming, and actually Sock is deciding to go for that tier 2 tech. Quite interesting. So perhaps he wants to try and get some lead now with the additional footies while ToD went for the quicker tech. And let's see which strategy pays off the best, actually focusing that Arcane Tower right now, which is not going down the fastest, to be honest, without any elementals pressuring. And Sock's footmen doing the best they can to take out the workers of ToD right now, which are going down quite quickly against the footmen. The low footmen being microed out right now. ToD about to lose another footy. Yep, this footy goes down at the back, calling militia support again to help defend. And yeah, ToD dropping down to 37 foot. Here we have Sock on 46 with a ton of footmen still at his disposal.
Now ToD has defend, and Sock still has to wait a little bit for it. Do we have shops up? We definitely do in these skirmishes. Sock is trying to get another advantage here, ToD is, with the Shadow Priest for some Dispel. He's making the right adjustments, I'd say.
Yes, I like that ToD went forward to try and take this camp, knowing that Sock was going to go back and heal. But he needs to get this camp done quickly. Perhaps he can get the items, the healing wards. Pretty amazing item, to be honest, but look at all these defend footmen from Sock, blocking the way from ToD exiting this camp here, but buying the Ogre Mauler here, which is, of course, very effective against the footmen. The Berserker wouldn't be doing too much. We have the Troll Priest in the back, able to get rid of a couple elementals, perhaps. There we go, 2 dispels used on that one. The heal ward in the back, doing absolute work for ToD right now, and look at the XP differential between both players, Neo.
Amazing! The shield wall is blocking ToD in, but he got another heal ward. This one will be cancelled rather quickly.
And the purchase from behind.
Breath of Fire coming in! How many kills can he get? That's one. Oh, but even trades, actually. But yeah, he had to get out immediately. Wonderfully salvaged by ToD.
Yep, very nice heads-up awareness to micro the fight, as well as split off one footman to purchase that panda for him, who came in and saved the day, immediately alleviating that pressure from Sock. And Sock, in the meantime, still making more footmen, going into low upkeep already, which is definitely unusual to see in this matchup at this stage. ToD in the meantime teching to tier 3, getting that double Sanctum, double Barracks, Blacksmith online with the Panda, which I pointed out is probably the optimal choice for a tier 3 mirror. Sock in the meantime, is he really getting that much value out of these Mass Footmen? I guess we'll see Counter Panda also being purchased for him right now.
Yeah, there it is, but not too many targets on ToD's side. This is looking pretty good. Panda has a lot of mana to be working with. Shadow Priest, of course, on the side of ToD. This Mauler is soaking up so much damage. Look at them. The left-hand side, the footies are all hurt. Fireball burns him, and ToD is getting more and more advantages here. Only the supply is speaking in favor of Sock, but what's the supply even doing?
Look at all those footmen wonderfully microed by Sock to the back. Imagine, a couple Panda breaths on those Neos. That would be an absolute wet dream for that Panda, I think. But in the meantime, Sock losing his Panda feels kind of bad.
Is it not just dead weight? Because, you know, tier 3 by ToD is almost done. Archmage is diving a little deeper for another kill. That's 2. Close to level 5. ToD has a split footy here as well.
Very
Kills
nice.
3. So well done.
Genuinely impressed by ToD's play here, to be honest. Again, managing these small details very, very well indeed. I would have loved to have seen triple Aviary from him as some sort of counter to these footmen. A very unexpected play indeed in Human Mirror. Look at the tech difference. He is tier 3 any second now. Meanwhile, Sock is only about 15-20 seconds into his tech. Not looking too great for him, honestly. He will be playing catch up, I think, for the most of the rest of this game. But these footmen do have something to say about it.
Oh, the Mauler survives because of the healing of the Shadow Priest. Calculated well, but yeah, huge ambush now. Shield wall up and on to the workers.
Sock recognizing here that he needs to make something happen with all of these defend footmen, which will become pretty much dead weight in the late game. ToD purchasing the Staff of Sanctuary here. I think he's having a pretty hard time dealing with all of these footmen, to be honest. Many of the peasants have been taken out already. Panda is farming experience at the back. ToD actually only now just hitting level 2 compared to the already level 2 Panda of Sock. And the XP gap is closing here with so many worker kills.
Right, no Drunken Haze on ToD's side. His Panda gotta be careful a little bit, but there's the staff, uses it now. That benches the Panda for a while, because he has to heal up. And Sock pushes through. Can still do more damage. The Scroll of exactly. So much healing now, but Knights are coming to the rescue.
Here we go. Knights, absolute chads on those horses. They deal incredible damage, even against heavy armor as well. We'll be able to pretty easily chew through the remainder of Sock's forces here. But Sock, having bought a ton of economical advantage, there's been only one peasant mining from this gold mine for ToD for quite some time now. We can see the gold difference in the mines is 1,400 currently at each player's expansions. We can see that that has enabled Sock to get to 58 food and has a huge gold bank. As soon as he reaches tier 3, he will be able to produce a ton of units at the same time, almost going all the way up to 80 food if you can get those farms online quickly.
The decision making to go for the aggressive with all the footmen, so well done, buying the time for the tier 3, taking ToD off the map, not allowing the Panda to level or to fry the footmen, and there was basically no chance for ToD to play his tech advantage. It's even now.
Yep, it's absolutely crazy to think that Sock was so far behind in tech, and now he has managed to bring it back and get both an economic lead and re-establish some tech equality there. Splitting off 3 footmen to the side. Can the 3 footmen take care of this knight? We'll check on that later. In the meantime, there is an engagement breaking out here between the two in the middle. The Panda of ToD looking not too bad at all with the nice Ring of the Archmagi. Pretty strong for him. In the meantime, Sock's Panda with just the Ring of Protection. Nothing too special there. And yep, the Knights of ToD proving to prevail for the time being. But we know that Sock is mustering up his forces in the background there. The Paladin third joining now.
Knight is taking care of the footy, easy peasy. We got more farms falling. That oh no, it's not keeping Sock supply blocked. He still can go up to 80. Incredible game. Level 3 Archmage, Water Elemental advantage on ToD's side, also closing in on that level 2 Breath of Fire. Once more, we go for the Pallies. Now Sock's Paladin is out as well, but ToD already leveled to level 1 Devotion Aura. And we have an even game?
Well, let's break it down a little bit. We've got quite a few knights on the field already for ToD. He is fast approaching that level 3 Panda. We have the level 2 Pally with Devotion Aura and 1/1 Knights. In the meantime, Sock has 2/1 Knights with the Animal Ward training, which ToD has unfortunately forgotten to get so far. Heal Scroll on the side of Sock as well will prove to be pretty useful against that Panda of ToD. But he is lacking a little bit in the Knight department. Not seeing any more Knights being produced currently, but a lot of Priests, which of course are very essential indeed. Master training for Sock coming along nicely. ToD, on the other hand, does not have his master training started.
Blizzard!
But in the meantime, the pressure of the Footman, the Blizzard, and the Breath of Fire evaporates that Town Hall of ToD. It's quite insane to see how fast that went down there. All the normal damage, even these Footmen providing quite decent normal damage against the expansion of ToD, which gets sniped in kind of what felt like an instant, honestly. It went down so quickly. But then again, ToD with 7 Knights here, kind of once again forced into just playing like all in here, getting going with the massive counter attack, and we'll see if that proves to be enough. Is he going to get revenge on Sock's Town Hall as well? We'll
The
see about
Blizzard,
that.
though, so good in positioning, takes the pressure off the Town Hall. Wonderfully done. Panda is not level 3. How are you positioning your Knights now that they're constantly threatened by a level 2 Blizzard? It's so tough to do. We can try to play with Water Elementals, but massive Dispel once again, hitting so hard.
Oh, nice denying that other elemental, though. That might have provided that Archmage with level 5 here. We don't want to see that level 3 Blizzard on the side of ToD.
Oh, no.
That would have been incredibly rough. In the meantime, ToD electing to go with the level 3 Elementals, which of course are strong. But Sock prepared already with 5 Master Priests, who have got plenty of mana to work with right now.
Oh, Song of Ice and Fire. ToD needs a heal scroll or 2, but he can't leave the middle really. Now Animal War Train, now Inner Fire, but it seems like it's just a little bit too late. He went for army, and even more army, but didn't go for the tech just yet. Probably the last chance to break through.
Yep, ToD forced into an all-in once again after losing his expansion for the second game in a row. Level 3 Panda, online for him finally, does a nice breath indeed. Sock, on the other hand, his Panda is chilling at the back, getting that Clarity Potion to try and regenerate some of his mana. But I think we're seeing, Neo, just how effective Blizzard is in Tier 3 Human Mirrors. It's quite insane to watch how much damage it puts out.
If there's no Mountain King to stop it or any other Dispel, this is incredible AoE. Taking a look at the hero damage chart, and Sock is probably pulling ahead there any second. It's not good for ToD. He might be facing a 0-2 situation, being down on 1 base. Losing the shop now as well. There's still 2,300 gold in the main, so it's not gonna expire anytime soon. And this will be another maxed out human tier 3 army for Sock very soon.
Oh my lord, the Breath of Fire and Blizzard combination coming in once again. Pretty much all of ToD's Knights half HP, but the same goes for Sock, who didn't really build up a massive front line of Knights himself, is getting plenty of upgrades though. Here they come, another 2 Knights join the fray. There are 5 Knights now for Sock against the 5 of ToD, and who is going to prevail here in this battle? Again, the level 3 Blizzard doing obscene amounts of damage to ToD's Knights. The Panda of ToD right now did contribute quite a lot with that level 2 breath, but is looking quite low on mana as well.
Incredible. Ooh, what's the way out? Water Elementals? Not really. Moving the Knights to the side. Pally in trouble by Sock a little bit, blocking himself as well. The Panda damage is of course better for ToD, but he's running out now. Inner Fire finally on ToD's side, but he needs more healing. Both maxed out at 80, but the Blizzard is just making the difference.
One thing that is definitely noteworthy is ToD actually has 3 Staffs of Sanctuary online. We know how much he loves that item.
Yep.
In the meantime, Sock with only 2 Staffs, not getting as much free healing and unit conservation abilities as ToD, but has the economic lead, of course, once again in this match. And I think that may be enough to keep him ahead. However, ToD is definitely not down and out yet. Oh, the Priest of Sock actually dispelling the knights that were healing up
Oh.
at Todd's base, and 2 of them now have come free early from the shackle of Staff of Sanctuary and are not healed up fully yet.
That is pretty sick. Okay. I mean, they are back in the battle a little earlier, but they're not fully healed, so double-edged sword here. Sock is amassing a big bank once again, but Todd is still fighting. We're getting one of these 26-minute games again. He's actually getting some kills on the board. And this time... I mean, how is he alive with 2 base, 1 base this entire time? It's incredible.
We're seeing the same situation once again. Todd losing his expansion, but having the superior hero levels for sure, and did have the superior numbers in terms of knights for a long time. But Sock here pulling the boys, 3-2 militia, quite well upgraded, of course, sharing those upgrades with the knights, who are very sturdy in the front line. I think the level 1 paladin of Sock here is a little bit of a liability. Really need that devotion aura to keep ahead in these engagement. But saying that, the Blizzard, of course, as we pointed out many times, is just wrecking face.
Yeah. What's the way? Todd goes into high upkeep. He's losing so much gold to the Warcraft taxes now. He absolutely needs it. Paladin gets closer to level 2 himself. 3rd armor upgrade on the back of this as well. What's next? Blizzard again and again.
Job.
Oh my god.
The damage is absolutely absurd. A little bit of damage going onto his own knights, but I think it is an okay price to pay to keep Todd at bay. But yes, as you said, Todd breaking into low upkeep, not electing to rebuild his expansion. He is going pretty much all in. You can see 3 knights in the base currently healing up. Same for Sock, 2 more knights popping up, but he has 1800 gold right now, Neo. I feel like Sock maybe should consider breaking to 100 foot himself.
Well, he's cheap. He loves his gold. Maybe he mines out the main and then goes into high upkeep. So he's not losing double income, but it's only 100. So no Tome of Retraining for Todd. Instead, Heal Scroll. And that was maybe a little bit too late for that. Panda Breath of Fire, Paladin in trouble, Panda in trouble, everything in trouble.
We're seeing Todd's army kind of almost disintegrating there in the face of the Song of Fire and Ice. And yes, it is a pretty chaotic fight we're seeing here, Neo. There are knights all over the place attacking different targets, some attacking each other, some attacking priests. It truly is a pretty chaotic battle right now. But the thing I'm fixated on is how much damage Sock's Panda and Archmage are outputting right now. It is off the charts.
Well, it's actually on the chart that you see on the screen right now. We compared this 2 pushes ago, and there, Water Metal and Blizzard.
God, the damage is ridiculous from the Archmage.
It was pretty even last time we checked, and now Archmage Blizzard, man, it's just an incredible spell late game.
Yeah, look at the army of Todd now. It is pretty much on its last legs. Todd needing to retreat and let his army heal up a little bit, but now he is completely broke. All the boys are being pulled across. This must be like 12 militia pretty much. Yet 12 militia being pulled across right now. I think perhaps Todd is going to clear this gold mine and establish some long distance mining. But in the meantime, Sock finally broke to that 100 food. The first time we've seen that so far in the W3Champions finals.
Correcto. Parrot of Vitality, also not the item that he wants. Can he sell a lot to get the gold for an expo? Ring of Archmage. Yep, that's the one. Periap probably as well.
The only thing, of course, is when you sell items in lower high upkeep, you get taxed accordingly as well. And the same for the creep gold as well, that also gets taxed. So you're not getting as much gold from the creeps when you're in low upkeep, and the items sell for less as well. It may be, with the slippers, just enough to sell and start that expansion up again. But Sock is knocking on Todd's front door right now.
Yeah. Look at this massive blue force storming Todd's castle now. Inner Fire Knights again. 18 armor right now with Devotion Aura and Inner Fire and all the upgrades. Todd's upgrades a lot better this time, but he didn't... Oh! No, he didn't get the Blizzard upgrade. Here's the fight. That's probably the last stand. Sock needs to make a big mistake for Todd to win this map.
Absolutely, Neo. In the background, we see a few units flanking the Panda of Sock right now. Perhaps Todd could surround that Panda, but yep, Sock moving it just out of the way in time. We have a lot of AFK peasants in the fight, just mere observers to this engagement right now. ToD surrounding the Archmage of Sock. Is this a good move? I'm not so sure. I think we're going to see a lot of knights going down right now. 2 knights falling. Almost. Oh, not quite. Just 1 knight falling there. But yeah, ToD looking pretty bruised after that engagement indeed. Sock dropping a little bit in supply though, down to 91.
Ooh, that will take some time to recover from that. And he's still down 20 food while Sock is still mining for another minute and a half.
Yep, precisely. We see Sock trying to replenish his army once again with more knights. And what can ToD do? Everything he has is all he's got, Neo. And we have 1 heal scroll and a few staffs and some bruised knights to try and make a last stand here at the castle with ToD. And yep, once again, that Blizzard proving to be just battle decisive. Honestly, it is dealing just incredible damage. The level 3 Panda of Sock with that potion of mana is going to have lots of damage to put out himself. The peasants all being slaughtered. ToD experiencing that many times in his career, I'm sure. And yep, look at all these priests. They're all attacking right now. They're all on auto-cast inner fire, so they're not using healing, which is a little bit of an oversight by Sock. But in the end, the Blizzard does the job, I think.
My god! Damage chart through the roof! Well played by ToD. And we take a look at the post-game screen to check the damage values.
Yeah, 34.4k.
Yeah! 34,000 damage! Can you believe it? This is usually only possible with a Demon Hunter in a human expansion, but Sock makes it work with Blizzard. Tremendous. And you know what? I have no idea how he found the time to rush to the shop while Sock was threatened by a push with these knights. That was incredible.
Yeah, I think Sock realizing just what it was he needed to do to fight back, and perhaps he listened to our sage advice and went for that Blizzard retrain. One could only hope. But of course, I have to say once again, ToD just losing that economic edge and dropping down from 2 bases to 1 base is kind of just an insurmountable difficulty in his games.
Whew, okay.
In any case, ToD managing to make 2 very competitive games out of it, despite losing an expo in both games quite early on. It is pretty crazy to watch these engagements, and ToD certainly microed his best in these fights for sure.
And game 3 is up. Sock with 3 match points now. As it seems like we get it going. Players ready. Sock ready. Waiting for ToD.
Well, as you said, Neo, these matches of Tier 3 Human Mirror are pretty fantastic to watch.
Yeah.
So much better than the Breaker Mirror that we're used to. We've seen it countless times before. And between these 2 great players here, we're seeing a very spicy match indeed.
And off we go. ToD versus Sock round 3. If this is another 25-minute banger match, I wouldn't mind. The third encounter between the 2. And will Sock take all 3? That is the question that we will answer in just a second.
Tidehunters, a fairly well-established map, I would say these days. One of the newest maps that was created, obviously, in the past year, and it is a brilliant map. I think we can say that it is probably the most successful of the newest maps added to the pool, and a pretty easy expansion map for both players. I'm quite curious to see, will they open with the observatory, try to get that level 3 online as quickly as possible, or perhaps we will see a quick expansion. Definitely a couple options here. Maybe some early aggression against someone's lab creep. There are definitely a couple options for the Human Mirror players.
All right, I think it has been established that lab is the best opener in this matchup. So let's see if both are sticking to it. There might be a handful of surprises in though. As well, just like Glass Cannon surprises us with $5, boosting the prize pool to 2,392, getting closer to the big 2,500. Not that close to the 3K that Quberte wants from you, but hey, we got some matches left here.
We certainly do. We've got another best of 5 after this match. Hopefully this series carries on for a little bit longer as well. I'm sure we're all enjoying these tier 3 human mirror matches. Are definitely a sight to behold. And yeah, plenty of time for that prize money to be boosted up there. But here we go, guys. Sock once again moving out with the footman early to check what it is that ToD is doing, and ToD sitting with his first footman prepared to deal with the lab pool here. Not too complicated to do. I think Sock is pretty much anticipating this as well. But interestingly, goes for his own orange, unable to pull that lab since he used it to scout. And we are indeed seeing a little bit of a diversity in strategy here.
Yeah, that is a big surprise to me. This lab, similar to Last Refuge, gives you a big advantage early on. So what's Sock gonna get from it? He's attempting a last hit. That would be.
Oh my lord! Please.
We can't. It was close, okay. But ToD got it. Item on the ground. Rune braces, though. That is not an advantage at all.
Yep, unfortunately for ToD, Rune Bracers here. Again, the worst drop, but we did see Sock, of course, have that item last game, and he converted it into a nice boots of speed, essentially for free. And that certainly helped him to chase down some units in the early game stages. And ToD here, 30 food currently, building that 4th farm. I would be expecting probably an expansion to come up after this little turtle camp. In the meantime, Sock, having gone for an easier creep route, is already able to start an expansion early, but will find it a little bit more tricky to get that level 3 online.
Okay. All the rings, everybody. I think the bracers are some sort of ring too, right? Ring, ring, ring.
Oh my gosh.
The banana phone is calling.
Oh my god, that is an absolute throwback right there. Classic indeed. Alright. ToD getting rid of both of his rings for a Circle of Nobility. A much prettier and far more useful item indeed. Split Militia creeping in the meantime, but the Sea Giant going absolutely nuts on ToD's peasants right now. They are looking pretty damaged indeed. Probably going to lose a few more to the Berserker. He did snipe one of Sock's footmen, but I'm not sure this is proving to be worth it in the end. We did lose one peasant up here. Should be able to clear the rest of that camp. And yet, ToD with that early level 3, what can he do right now? Sock is already getting that expansion up. It is pretty much already built. So no more super exposed peasants for him.
But if he tears these peasants apart in the main now, then there's no echo advantage. ToD this time, tier 2 tech on 1 base. And yeah, I know that feel with the Sea Giant. It just keeps on spinning. If you're a little unlucky, you get 2 spins in a row. It's a lot of AoE damage. Nothing you can do against it. I hate this creep.
I think it honestly should be changed because it's completely RNG focused and it does way too much damage to pulverize. It's like 40 on every single unit.
Hate this creep.
We all do, Neo. But in any case right now, the 3 rings of Sock right now not providing the most amount of utility in this upcoming fight. ToD is literally ignoring that Archmage. What is the point to attack 15 armor Archmage in the early game stages? Focusing rather on those footmen instead. But Sock not sustaining too many losses here, honestly, at the Expo defense. Did lose a couple in the main base as well. But if he's attacking within the next, say, 30, 45 seconds, Sock is looking pretty decent in this game so far.
I agree. With that second base up, and Defend will come in shortly after the tech. He builds the shop, as you said. I love how you had the ring synonymous with ToD there for a second.
Yeah, my brain is, it's already in my brain. I was like, yeah, rings and ToD, it's just an intrinsic combination, isn't it?
It absolutely is. As we did crack the 2400. Good job, guys. And ToD is continuing with the pressure. Needs to play a tier 2 advantage, and I wouldn't be too surprised to see a panda again for pressure.
Absolutely. Sock's macro absolutely infallible here, teching as soon as he had the lumber. You see he has exactly 0 lumber, getting just a little bit now. from his workers, Arcane Vault being established up at the expansion, Lumber Mill being built in the main base. Probably going to upgrade that Scout Tower soon in the main base to an Arcane. And yeah, ToD, what is his plan? Most likely the Panda for the third game in a row. Yes, there he is, Tatsa Sweet Barrel, building the double Sanctum behind this, going for as much pressure as he possibly can. The only trouble is, if you don't do critical damage here, the overwhelming economy advantage of Sok will prevail.
Exactly, and the first Breath of Fire wasn't necessarily overwhelming damage, if I can assess this correctly. And Sok just plays defensively this time and stabilizes more and more. It's
wow,
not
I just saw that Archmage hit of ToD onto Sok's Archmage. It did 16 damage.
Wow.
Against that 15 armor. That's pretty incredible to see.
Rings ain't so bad anymore, eh?
Yeah, especially on an agility hero for sure. Pretty scary stuff. Not that the Archmage is an agility hero, of course, but putting it on those sorts of heroes makes them incredibly strong. In any case, ToD here, hoping to creep up. He needs to get some sort of advantage given that he is playing from a base down. Going to be buying that first heal scroll, I imagine. Saying that, Sok is moving in as well and has a lot more resources. Is he going to steal away the scroll? Kind of devastating for ToD here not to get the scroll, I would say. But it is very expensive on one base economy, of course. Needs to focus on getting the priests. Did research backpack. I'm not sure if that is a misclick or not. I'm assuming it probably is. But in any case, yeah, Sok beating back ToD here a little bit, buying a lot of space for his
Panda surrounded just like that. No. Sok gets
past the TP. He can't pass the TP. He tried to pass it and he wasn't able to, unfortunately. Trying to counterattack that 15 armor Archmage, as I pointed out, and he is standing tall still, despite tanking a lot of hits from ToD's army there. Panda going down here for ToD. Pretty devastating loss right now.
Yeah, this feels so bad because the first two games were so competitive. Would have loved for ToD to bring his name on the board and at least get the one map. 0-3 definitely didn't show what ToD brought to the table here in this series, if it ends this way. We get a big Dispel upgrade, but Sok also going for a Workshop, going for a Mountain King. This is probably the strongest combo that you can possibly get with Frag Shards against Breakers. That's an 8-click win down the road on two bases, of course. Panda is back relatively fast, but it's looking grim for ToD now.
Saying that, Sok's army is looking quite bruised right now, taking obviously a lot of damage from the militia support here, which are very effective, and of course a few sorcerers too to slow these units down. ToD not actually even getting this straggler here that is slowed, probably going to be killed off via the creeps anyway. And yeah, ToD forced into casters and breakers to try and mount another assault, and in the meantime, as you pointed out, tier 3 for Sok. Mortar, first mortar already being produced. That Mountain King will certainly be effective at taking down units individually, perhaps some Thunderclap, but yet Sok here actually being forced to use an invisibility potion to try and get out, buys the staff and the dust and the scroll of healing and the invisibility potion. ToD missing the blind dispel there on that Archmage.
That was expensive for sure. ToD with a Tome of Retraining early.
Yep, I think it's a pretty smart choice by ToD. Getting the Blizzard here is pretty much his only way to siege these towers down. The Elemental is not going to be providing much use here whatsoever. And also, Blizzard is pretty spammable. We basically saw Sok, once he was level 5, not running out of mana at any point, really, despite spamming Blizzard off of cooldown. But yeah, ToD, the window for him to make something happen here is growing thin.
Okay, that is also level 2 Brilliance Aura. Sorcerer's getting snagged and the Mortar team is ready. We are like 2 minutes away from Frag Shards, and that is probably Sok's win condition. ToD with a good position. Footman suffering. They didn't bring their code.
Well, it must be interesting for Sok to suffer at the hands of the spell that brought him so much success in the previous match. And yep, those mortars coming online will be shredding the backline of ToD once we have a decent mass of those, and the fragmentation shards, of course, an incredibly powerful upgrade against unarmored and medium armor units. Level 4 online for Sok now, finally getting that level 2 Brilliance Aura to support his level 1 Mountain King, which sorely needs that mana regeneration right now.
Oh yeah, he does. Whew, 2 base, 1 base for a long time. Echo damage done, but not too many peasant kills actually. Panda not close to 3. And we have a little bit of a different situation, of course, because the Stormbolt can cancel the Blizzard. In the Mana War, Archmage will be superior. And now get some kills. But there is a solution. There's also a solution down the road against Mass Telly, if we ever get there. And ToD? Aiming for a second base himself now.
Yes, I was almost expecting him to try and clear that expansion with only Militia, but I think that would have been maybe a little ambitious. Manages to snipe the Ogre Magi, getting the wanted mana stealing here, which is pretty decent against the Mountain King of Sok. Steals a little bit of mana there, and throws a cheeky little breath. It doesn't deal the most amount of damage in the world. Oh wait, Mountain King vaulting that Archmage right now, trying to go for the TP force. ToD manages to move away his Archmage successfully. No real harm done right now.
Ooh, okay. No second base indeed. Breath of Fire once more, trying to grind up to that level 3, but Knights are so sturdy against it. And we're getting that very, very soon. Frag Shards online. And that was the upgrade that he was waiting for.
Here they go. They're about to fire their first shot. Those priests in the back taking pretty massive damage from only 3 siege units. It's pretty incredible. Knights as well dealing massive bonus damage versus breakers. Blizzard again is going to have to carry. It is pretty effective against the mortars. Level 3 Panda also effective against the tier 3 units of Sok. Militia support coming from ToD as well might help turn the tide in this skirmish. But the trouble is, ToD isn't establishing a second base in this meantime.
Everything these mortars hits is just vanishing. There's no heal scrolls. Look at them breakers. They're supposed to be tanks. Panda getting attacked by this Panda once again. Frag Shards. I would love to have an attack damage shard for these mortars now, because that is just incredible. And we're getting more upgrades for them. Panda can also not carry this game anymore. 30 food down and a base down. This looks hopeless.
ToD coming in once again here, trying to blizzard the peasants here. The Arcane Tower not quite able to reach. Perhaps Sok could have spaced out the towers a little bit better here, but in any case, not too much damage being done. Is interrupting the mining quite a bit. Oh, actually able to damage the tower and one of the peasants there. Pretty nice indeed. Crazy to think that you can outrange the Arcane Tower there. A little bit of focus fire coming onto the Archmage right now, who should be safe. Could just simply run away from that Mountain King. The Dwarf a little bit too slow in catching the Archmage there.
Okay, Stormbolt locked and loaded. This Mountain King, how much mana, how much armor is that? 14 armor on the Dwarf, and he has Clap.
Wait, he just bought more Rings of Protection from the marketplace.
21 armor, look at him go!
This is absolutely ridiculous, seeing 5 Rings of Protection on this Mountain King right now. It's basically invincible. And yeah, in the meantime, with the Knights and the Breakers can just stand in that front line while the Mortars rain down hell, boys.
Sok, you just gotta love the B-Boy. Always bringing fun flavor to these tournaments.
Just wait till that Devotion or an Inner Fire comes online.
I'm not... Oh my god, yeah, you're right.
The potential is just absolutely absurd. But I don't think we're going to get there, Neo, unfortunately.
No.
ToD, tier 2, only 46 supply against the 70 foot of Sok. There's a Devotion Aura, 23 armor available on that Mountain King right now. Pretty much just unkillable. The backline being focused quite a bit there by the Breath of Fire and the Blizzard. But yeah, ToD calls for it. Well played. Good luck next. Nicely done by Sok.
Nicely done by Sok as well. ToD putting up a great fight. This was an exceptional series, especially map 1 and 2. Feeling the pressure on map 3, then the pushes didn't really work out that way, and Sok just rock solid, man. Rock solid.
Yeah, I think we see Sok's strength in the later game stages of these matches. I would say in the first 2 games, as competitive as they were, ToD actually had quite a decent lead in both of those maps early on, and Sok managing to bring it back, perhaps making the better later game decisions, going for the expansion snipes, and just maintaining his economic lead and not throwing it in the end. I can see the Twitch chat being entertained now by Sock's purchase of all those rings from the marketplace was certainly kind of a funny move, but he knew how far ahead he was in that game.